Hey, everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those you love will be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has gotten great reviews, and Eve 11 enjoys by how its celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com on over 40 podcast platforms, heard in over 100 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and coming soon to HamiltonRadio.net, Diamonds FM, Oldies Radio, and a few other networks as well. Take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. For great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies, baseball gear makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also T-shirts, pop sockets, phone cases, hoodies, and a lot of cool stuff. Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Check it out today. I'll support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, themikewagnershow.com. You can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com at the Mike Wagner Show. Make sure you do so today. We're here with an amazing gentleman who's a disruptive leadership speaker and author, decorated Navy Air Force aviator, surviving 4 plane crashes, and dedicated to lives to help others find their purpose in life and the best lives despite the tribulations. We'll talk about that. His book discusses how to be an effective leader and also team member through his experiences, and also serves as a flight instructor as a student at Ohio University. And he's got 2 books out called Wake Up and Win and Gear Up, Shut Up. So let's get ready for the ride live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios somewhere in the Florida Panhandle. And he's flying high, ladies and gentlemen, the author of Wake Up and Win, Gear Up and Shut Up, ladies and gentlemen, the multi-talented David Moore. David, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, afternoon, evening. Thanks, Mike.
Well, it's great to have you on board, David. So you're a disruptive leadership speaker and author of Wake Up and Win, along with Gear Up and Shut Up. You're a decorated Navy Air Force aviator, survived 4 plane crashes, and you dedicate your lives to help others find their purpose and also the best lives despite the tribulations and times and everything else. Your books discuss how to be an effective leader and also team member through your personal experiences. You also serve a flight instructor as a student at Ohio University. And before we talk about your books, Wake Up and Win, Gear Up and Shut Up, and your amazing experiences, tell us how you first got started, David.
Well, how I ended up coming down this road was there was like some things in life, if you're really paying attention, you know, your life takes different directions. So I was at Ohio University. I worked real hard. I mean, just came out of very humble roots. And I was donating plasma, pumping plasma to stay in college. I'd gotten to football. I played a little football at Division III school. That's how I even got started. And, I just was just scratching and clawing, got my, worked in a steel mill. And, I just had this dream. I wanted to be an American Airlines pilot. And at the time, there was no jobs. And even my dad told me that, that I was going down the wrong road, that there was U.S. air pilots that were laid off and they're working the French fry machine, and just very negative. But, one of the things that I've learned in life, I mean, looking back 30 years is, when you decide something's in your heart or you have a purpose or a passion, you have to put the blinders on. You can't let man or anybody, you can't let them knock you off your course when you know in your gut. And that's the biggest problem with people is we're always looking for external, acceptance or external factors, where what I concentrate on, Mike, is actually it's all internal, that you have to make your own decisions. You have to build yourself so strong. So my leadership all comes to your personal self, because what I was twisted and put through, fast forwarding through Ohio University, struggling through, just all heart, all passion. I go through this horrendous, just absolutely terrible plane crash on December 17th, 1997. Mike, I couldn't even tell the story. I would shake like this. Psychologists got me in front of light boards, and they're trying to do this desensitization and blah, 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 and blah. Well, none of it worked, and I had post-traumatic stress, not disorder, but, we all go through post-traumatic stress in life. But, that's one of the big things that I talk about is, don't let somebody tell you that you have a disorder or something's wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You have to figure out a way to solve the problem that you're facing. And to do that, you have to make the problem very analytical and not sit there and wallow in your own misery, and you have to get past it. So on December 17th, 1997, from the US government, they, after, it's an amazing story. We don't have time for it right now. But after, I end up like dragging his doctor out of the woods, and it's just insane. Like, I look at the pictures and look back, and I even wonder how it's all real. It puts me to, the surgeon puts me together like Humpty Dumpty, redoes my face, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I mean, and it was funny because when they were finally discharging me from the hospital, my primary care physician didn't want to let me out, and my the plastic surgeon was trying to help me get out because I was going insane just sitting in there, and the main doctor said, look, your healing's just beginning. And he was absolutely right. And because the healing was mental, and what I went through, it will, that first plan, that would just take a lot of people down. And if I came on the Mike Wagner show and I said, hey, Mike, man, I went through this and I was trembling and I was like, oh my God, it was so scary. It was terrible. You'd be like, hey, I understand why you couldn't fly. I couldn't even get on the back of a commercial airliner. And you would be like, I can understand that, man. And, and I went into sales, and I had a pivot to try to figure things out, and I did all right, but I wasn't fulfilling what I really needed to go and fulfill at the time because I had this unfinished business with aviation. So I had to find it within to get myself past this post-traumatic stress. And basically what I did, Mike, for 2 years, I couldn't even fly. I had to come out to California for a wedding, and I couldn't even get on the airplane. I was so scared to even get in the back of the airplane that I had to get myself drunk just to get on the airplane to go out to a wedding for my cousin. And imagine that, everything you devoted your life to, becoming a pilot, pumping plasma, playing a little football. And I'm 5'8" with my boots on. I just played with all heart, and going through all these steps. And then here I am, I'm a pilot who's afraid to fly. And I don't think anybody would have looked down on me if I would have just discontinued right there. But I had to find that courage and that fight. And that's what I want to go out there and speak to people about, is you have to have that fight. When life sends it to you, the bigger the punch, the bigger the chance for advancement. And it's completely changed my life. And I couldn't be more thankful that it happened. At the time, it was the worst thing ever. And now it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Does that make sense?
Now, did that happen while you're in the Navy or the Air Force when you had your first plane crash?
No.
Were you in the Navy or the Air Force, or was it with American Airlines?
No, I was never with American Airlines. And let me just clarify, that's what was my dream, was to go with American Airlines. Right?
Okay, I just want to double check. That's all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm very stream of conscious. So thank you. One of my biggest downfalls, we all have to know our weaknesses, is I often think people know a lot, like understand a lot more of what I'm trying to say because the story's in my head. So I have to be very clear. And I work on that as a speaker because I've come down this road, and what I have to say is real. And it helps everyday people get through humongous problems that even doctors couldn't get me through. A guy that wrote 13 books, he's an expert in all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. He looked at me and said, I've never seen somebody pull out like you pulled out, and got back onto it. So where I went from there, Mike, is I was just spiraling down the drain. I was just, my whole, everything, I had this passion and this purpose inside of me that I thought, I wanted to go to American Airlines. And I was a flight instructor at a high university, and I was hired by this company, Athens Rental Management Company. And that's who I crashed with, was the doctor that owned that. Very successful man. It was classified as an act of God. So it was of no fault. I hit a deer on takeoff, just as we were rotating on takeoff.
Ooh, I hate that. Oh my dear. Oh my gosh.
I've only hunted one time in my life, and I've used an airplane. That's kind of, people like, do you hunt? I'm like, once, and I used an airplane.
And they say, dear me, I'll tell you. So
I'll tell you, it took me a mile and a half in the woods, man. It was brutal. Like, my whole face was ripped off and all this. So anyways, pushing forward to your question. So here I am, I'm just kind of, I'm selling boxes, right? Corrugated containers for Greif Brothers. And I'm doing well at it, because that's one thing about Dave. Dave Moore's a fighter, and wherever I go, I'm going to leave it better than when I found it. So it doesn't matter if I know that it's not, where I'm going to be for the rest of my life. I'm going to give 110%, even in the small things that I do. And that's what really makes a difference for people. So I'm over at Greif Brothers, and I'm working, and I'm out there pounding the road. I had no passion in selling boxes, but that was my job. So I was going to do my best. And I just closed a big account, and I'm driving down the road in my company minivan. And I had a company car. It was a minivan. I was a young guy, and I looked up in the sky and I said, Dave, I just closed a big account and it was another big commission. And I looked up, it had been almost 2 years. And I said, Dave, what are you doing, man? You're a pilot. You got to get back up in the sky. Like, it was just, I remember driving down the road at one point. And I felt like, I remember saying to myself, I felt like my head was like just marbles rolling loose. When you go through something like that, and then, they tell you that, I don't know what you believe in, but there is no reason you should be alive. I've investigated a lot of accidents, and here's 3 reasons why you should be dead. And you go, when you take something on like that, I mean, it's like living a midlife crisis at a young age where, you're not thinking when you're still thought you were invincible. And so it's just changed every way that I viewed the world. And it changed me so much that I thought that I might not even be right. So I'm out there, I'm just kind of spinning around. I go back and I start flight instructing at this little school where I learned at originally. And before Ohio University, where I got my start when I was working in that steel mill. And it didn't come back. It wasn't like riding a bike. So I went from being very good at something to being like, I remember I flipped the simulator over, it was like, man, I had to get back, and you had to grind it back. And that's hard, man. Life's a fight. People have to understand that, they always look at the end result, but all those steps coming up, there's so many breaking points where it's easy to quit. And that's where the difference between the haves and the have-nots is. That follow through is following through like a hockey stick. And you just got to keep that projection going up, and it's not going to just go like this. It's going to dip down and come back up. So I'm going through it, and I go to this flight school, and I'm flying there. And then, and so I get this crazy thing in my heart that I'm going to apply to the U.S. Coast Guard. I knew nothing about the United States Coast Guard. And I walk in there, Mike, and I'd gone through this accident, and I was finding some solace in booze. Nobody, and so I was a little bit overweight. And I walked in there, and the guy looked at me, and he said, the Coast Guard's not going to take you. You're too heavy. And then he looked at me and he said, I'll tell you right now, he said that, you get the flight school, because they go through Navy flight school and the Coast Guard. To get the flight school, we only have a couple slots. We're a seagoing service. Good chance you're not going to get there. And we've never had somebody make OCS out of this office. Usually you have to come in enlisted. So they told me every reason I couldn't. So I got mad, Mike. And I walked out of there. And in 2 months, I lost probably 20 some pounds, because that's the way I am. If I just focus my mind at it, I walked back in. The guy looked at me. He said, I remember you. And because of what you did, I'm going to put your package together for you. It's a lot of work.
Nice.
And so I continue to fly, and I'm going about it, and the economy is just booming. It's opening up. American Airlines is hiring, and that was my dream. I'm getting settled back in. I'm like, I'm overcoming, because you have to understand, like, my legs are straight out on the rudder pedals. Now I don't go out and just fly. I'm going on what ifing every situation. What if that wing catches on fire? What if that strut malfunctions? And what are you going to do? So I go on an hour flight, and I'm exhausted after it, where before you just get out there and fly around and no big deal. I'm what ifing through every scenario. So through a very fun story, I end up getting the appointment to the Coast Guard, and I wasn't going to do it. And because, American Airlines was hiring. It was the summer of 2001. Jobs were everywhere, and the airlines are all about your seniority number, the date you get hired, because that's how your schedule gets better. And it just seemed like, that's a really good place for me to go. Otherwise, the Coast Guard was offering me really no guarantees or no anything. And, everybody goes through a religious stage when you go through something like I go through. So I was actually out with this, with a friend of mine. She was a flight attendant, and we were out having a good time, and it was Sunday, and I got real guilty about not going to church, and I couldn't drive to church and in my state of mind. So I'm like, the Coast Guard needed to know Monday, because there was this mix up. I'm a junior. They end up going through the phone book. They find my dad. My dad calls me, says, "Hey, did you apply to the Coast Guard?" And they're like, they need to know tomorrow. And so I'm already in my mind, Mike, I'm going to American Airlines, blah, blah, blah. That's what I wanted to do. It's going to be fun. I'm a fun guy, and I go live that life. As an airline pilot, it was in my blood. And so that night, man, I'm like flipping through the channels, and I'm being all dramatic, and I'm a little boozed up, a little hooched up. If you ever hear me speak, that you'll hear that I'm authentic, because I'm just as real gets.
I could tell you're flying high. Yeah.
And I just tell it the way it is. It's not like I'm gonna, try to guard myself. I'm not perfect by any stretch. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, show me a sign, being all dramatic, and I'm flipping through, and there's this preacher on. And I kid you not, Mike. So I'm laying there and I'm not going to the Coast Guard. No guarantee I could end up on an icebreaker. I don't even like the water, man. And, this preacher gets on there and he's like, there's this man, he's stuck on a wave. And the Lord sends him I don't know, whatever, he sent him a raft. And he's like, the man let that raft go by. And he goes, that man stuck on a wave. And you remember, Mike, I'm all boozed up, been out partying. And I was like, show me a sign. I'm going to America. And mostly we already have it made up in our mind. Mm-hmm. And the preacher goes, and I've never watched an online preacher or, a TV preacher in my life. And he goes, that man stuck on a wave. And the Lord sends him a Coast Guard boat. And I was like, what? I was like, no, that's a total coincidence, right? I swear. So he goes, and that man stuck on a wave. And he goes, and they sent him a Coast Guard helicopter. I said, holy hell, I think this guy's trying to tell me something. I went in the next day, Mike. I went in and swore in. And that was that. And everybody, all my peers said, Dave, you're stupid. You're missing out. You're missing out on seniority number. You're missing out on this. You're missing out on that. Blah, 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 blah. That was August of 2001. Well, in September of 2001, the airline shut down because of the 9/11 attacks, man. It's crazy.
Yes. Good point.
I mean, but you got to imagine, because here I go and I take this chance because I got liquored up and I was in this preacher, I just took this crazy chance and it just turned out to be an unbelievable story. And so I went and became a Coast Guard officer and I got a flight slot. And I told you that, I was, because my thinking had changed so much that I thought there might be something, maybe not like not normal with me, because I completely became a new person. So I graduated from Navy flight school with the Coast Guard. They sent me down there and I graduated at the top of my class, and we shouldn't need external vindication. But that was the day that I said, Dave, there's nothing wrong with you. You've just completely changed as a person, and it completely changed as a person, like just reborn, like my whole view, my whole way that I see everything. And that's how I ended up getting my Navy wings. And then I flew for the Coast Guard. And then later on, I go to the Air Force. So I had an incredible Coast Guard career. So imagine a guy who was afraid of flying. And then I went out and I flew through 3 hurricanes, low level for them, did all the just hair raising stuff. I'm talking about, 100 feet off the deck. And it was amazing, and that's how I ended up in the service, to answer your question.
Oh, that's really amazing too. I'd love to hear more of your stories about being in the Navy and the Air Force. We'll talk about your 2 books, Wake Up and Win, Gear Up and Shut Up, in just 1 minute. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those you love will be their first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassie, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Molson-Zia. Available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com on over 40 podcast platforms, heard in over 100 countries. Take us with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books like Missing, Once, Wrinkles, and also Victim of Shame as well. Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Don't forget to check out the merchandise section. Also support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com at the Mike Wagner Show. Make sure you do so today. We're here with the amazing disruptive leadership speaker and author and decorated Navy Air Force aviator, David Moore, here on the Mike Wagner Show. And maybe a bit more about your Navy Air Force experience, including you've been decorated. You had some accolades as well, too, and surviving 3 of a plane crashes, and maybe just a bit more about experience, maybe with some experiences that got you those decorations as well.
Yeah. So my story, Mike, really goes to, it's really a story of, I have a lot of great stories. I come in and so when I come in and speak, to your company or your organization, I do the 3 C's of uncrashable leadership. And so my first plane crash, it took me 2 years to get over it. My second plane crash took me 2 weeks. That was an Air Force jet. And I'll kind of roll forward to that in a minute. And then 2 weeks and then 2 days on my third one. And it's funny enough that none of these they were all mechanical failures or factors outside of my ability. Like the one in the Air Force, I got a safety award, blah, blah, blah. So what it's really about, and then my last one, I say it took me 2 seconds, it was almost comical at that point. And there's just a lot of mystique in there, but there's obvious reasons that I'm supposed to be out here doing what I'm doing. And, to be able to bring myself past what I was able to bring myself past, that's what I want to give to people, because mine was literally life or death at some points. And, obviously the crashes were in different variances of levels. And, but the first three they all could have really went back. I mean, in any one of them, I could have actually died, and so it just, but be able to come back from that. And that's what I talk about. So I talk about uncrashable leadership, and I give the 3 C's. Like, we talk about being a disruptive leadership speaker. I'm talking about disrupting yourself. And my 3 C's are: the crashes of life will come, how to combat those crashes. And I give very plain, straightforward points. This is how you can go about it. And this will change the situation around, because like I said, Dave Moore could have been best. I could have sold anything and I would have been fine with that. But, I don't even have a huge passion for aviation anymore. My life has moved on. But if I wouldn't have completed those, if I would have let that failure, it's like momentum. If I would have allowed that to hold me back, then the next time I was in the crash of life, whatever that crash of life might have been, because we go through crashes of life every day, whether it be physical, emotional, mental, we go through these crashes. And what I show people is how I was able to combat huge ones that, doctors didn't even think I could be able to get past. So if you can apply these to the little ones in your life as well, then I want you to commit. That's the 3rd C, is commit to self-leadership. So I just want to, it's not about what I did. It's about what I can bring, because the military was part of my journey, and it was an amazing journey. And like everything else in life, you get out of it what you put into it. And like I said, I put my heart into things when I go do something. And that's what I think the real difference maker is, going out there and being the best at it. But
okay.
So getting up to why I wrote, I even got started. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I was going to ask you, although we're having a little bit of no, I was going to have some a little bit of technical difficulty with our Zoom here on the Mike Wagner Show. And I was going to ask you about the book, so Wake Up and Win and Gear Up, Shut Up and everything. And what inspired you to get you to write those 2 books?
So I was out in the desert, and I'm flying for the Air Force. I had my Air Force wings at this time. I've really built myself into a person I really liked. I'd come so far. I mean, and I've come so far from them, but I was just in the self-leadership, just focused on myself, becoming better and better and better. And I had to get out of the Coast Guard, went through like this really rough marriage, but it was good because I went down to just myself and rebuilt myself out of it. I'm in the Air Force. And I have every accolade you could. I'm a stand officer. I'm an instructor pilot, evaluator pilot, leading the pilot group for the Coast Guard. Like I've climbed to the top of the ranks, not by my rank on my shoulder, but because of what I could do. And my buddy's dad, who I mentored, was huge at FedEx. I put my package in. I said, okay, I guess I'm going to go fly for FedEx. And I was reading this book about self-improvement. And it was, because we would fly to the war. So I'm over at the war. And it was like, a 2-hour drive in, and I'd read a little bit. It was talking about, how their wealth of knowledge is in the cemeteries and the unwritten books. And I never in a million years did I ever think Dave Moore would even think about writing a book. So long story short, we go in and fly our first combat mission. It was a lot to take in. It was at nighttime, and the A-10s came in, and, war's war. It's not pretty like they show on TV. And when you really think about it, you're like, wow, we're just sitting here killing each other. It's crazy, So we fly, we get home, and we're not home. We're in Asia. And it's like, I don't know, about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm laying out, and I got an email that my dog that I had for a long time, and I was really, I had her actually since my first plane crash right before that. And obviously I was really, really close with her. It was an email from my mom, who was caring for it, to tell me that she had passed away. I knew it. I didn't think she was going to make it through the deployment, but it was still a lot to take in. And I'd found out that I didn't get that FedEx job, which just kind of baffled everybody, even the guy that was sponsoring me, like, you're a shoo-in. I just don't understand. And I knew that my life was being directed in a different light. And I was laying there on this bench. I got my flight suit unzipped. I'm just kind of taking it all in. And it was when the high power of Iran was talking about hitting the closest Air Force base. And that was us. He was going to hit us with chemical weapons. And so I'm laying there, And I'm just like talking to the universe. I'm like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, do you want me to write a book? Like, I mean, it's almost like, just a dumb question. Like, like, I don't know. Do you want me to be a hand model? Like, what am I supposed to do here?
or be a Top Gun like Tom Cruise or something.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you want? Like, I'm frustrated because I know I'm kicking in the wrong door. Like, that's not where I'm supposed to go. But like my logical thinking, because I'm a very math and science kind of guy, that would be the next step, to keep driving through, to continue on with life. And when I said that, Mike, the biggest shooting star I've ever seen came across the sky. I kid you not. I thought it was a Scud missile. I ran for the bunker, and then I realized what it was. I'm like, what? I'm going to write a book, and I had no idea. And the book Marley and Me just came out, right? About with I can't remember. Jennifer Aniston played in it with the dog. I was like, what? Should I write a book about my dog dying?
That was actually a good movie, by the way, Marley and Me. That was one of Jennifer Aniston's finer performances. I got to say that was one of her best performances, Marley and Me.
Yes, I just went with it. And then, so I started doing this, and then I started more motivated, and we were just talking in schools, and, I said, if I can just help one person, and it just morphed. It just grew out of it, which it's been unbelievable, So my book is I wrote a stream of conscious. It's thin. And, what I love about my background, or what I offer, is I go into a room of, C-level executive or white collar players, and I connect with them, and I go into a room with blue collar workers, and I connect with them. And I just did an event, and they ordered like 100 and some books for guys who probably don't probably read that much, like Dave, who is not, I was never a big reader. I mean, technical books and stuff like that, but I can count on one hand the number of books that I've read in my life. So so that's what Wake Up and Win is about. It's just about a quick hashing, and I'm going to actually add on to it with the 3 C's and what I bring out of that, what I can pull out of that, because at the end of the day, I want to help people live their best lives, man. I mean, I could have really ended up just curled up in the bottom of a ditch, just, and just tremble through life, or come out here and fight, and pretty happy with where I've gotten.
And that's certainly amazing as well, too. And where can we find your book? So Wake Up and Win, Gear Up and Shut Up app?
You can find it on Amazon, and you can find it at More Motivated. It's MOORE, 2 O's, like my last name, motivated.com. Everything's on there. My keynotes are on there. I do one-on-one coaching for people who really want to just build themselves up. And I mean, I'm living proof. It just, if you want to you can create your own life. And I'm not talking about message boards, this craziness, you do create your own life. And, don't wait for tomorrow, because one thing people like me who have been through these accidents, and the neat people I get to meet out there on the road that, have similar backgrounds, is you never think it's going to happen to you. And when I tell my first plane crash story, when I come to on the bottom of the plane, the first thing I say to myself after I get the mud out of my mouth because I'm suffocating and my nose is ripped off, I say, this doesn't happen to Dave Moore. That's the first thing. You don't think it's going to happen to you. And what I'm trying to say is, I'm not trying to scare anyone, but what I'm trying to say is that, tomorrow's not guaranteed. You got to live in the day, and the past is the past. You got to let it go. So, you got to keep looking forward and reaching forward. And if you're willing to do that, you don't put things off. Don't put dreams off. Don't put things that you want to accomplish. You do have to approach it analytically. I mean, I'm very math and science oriented. I'm not just saying it's all, waterfalls and rainbows and unicorns. You have to come in there with an approach, and that's why I give you the levels to combat it, so you can just get past anything you want. And once you get the momentum, if you get the momentum of losing, you just seem to lose in life. And if you get the momentum of winning, you just keep winning. And it's every single thing. Every time you win, and that momentum just keeps going on. And next thing you know, you wake up and win.
That is so amazing. I love it. Yeah. And what's coming up for David Moore, we'll find out just 1 minute. You're listening to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson's The Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We'll be back with speaker and author of Wake Up and Win, Gear Up and Shut Up, David Moore, after this time out. We're back with the amazing multi-talented David Moore of Wake Up and Win, Gear Up and Shut Up here on the Mike Wagner Show. And David, you just gave us a lot of great stories and a lot of great inspiration, just great motivation, especially the 3 C's and more, and being a champion at everything, which is the 4th C, by the way, I should recommend. What else can we
I love it, man.
Yeah, the 4th C, yeah.
I'm going to have to steal that from Mike Wagner.
You have my permission. Yes, you have my permission. The 4 C's, yes.
I love that. Why did I not think of that, Mike? That's genius. And I say, find the champion in you too. I mean, it's like.
I think we just made a marriage in heaven. I gotta say that. So, and besides what we just created, Dave, what else can we expect me in 2022 and beyond?
I'm just gonna keep growing more motivated, keep going out there, and just keep trying to help people get to their dreams. I'm certainly living my dreams out here. You mean for me personally, or?
Yeah, for you personally.
For me personally, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I have a couple businesses. I'm going to keep growing those. I'm going to keep doing the speaking, and I have a goal to be a world champion at poker. I'm going to play the World Series this year. I'm going to get out to Vegas for the World Series and maybe get a bracelet. I had a big win last month, and just going to keep going. Just enjoying life, Mike.
And can you do me one favor? Do a royal flush for me, and I'll be very happy.
I hope I can hit a royal flush for you.
Sounds good, and that'll make my career. And speaking of careers, who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Well, right now, Mike, with the champion, I'm just so in my career, I mean, it takes a village. There's been so many people. Like, I don't want to leave anybody out. There's been so many people that the growth process has been amazing. After my first plane crash, I met an amazing philanthropist. I'm going to leave his name out, he took me under his wing. He took the time to because I think he really liked what I'd been through and my story and my background. And I was friends with his nephew, and he just took me under his wing, and he really just taught me the, life and business and how to, and he's made hundreds of million, and he was a huge growth point at one point in my life. And then the military, I even went to the military after that, which he was surprised, because I think he thought we were going to work together, but I needed that. Like, there was, all along the stages of life, there's been so many good people, and there's been a lot of bad people that I've learned from as well. You just have to learn how to really deal with those difficult people and to take from that. And so I can't really think of any one person that I would put all the onus on. There's been a lot of great mentors, good and bad, in my life.
And that's a really good point as well, too, and totally amazing. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Anybody at this point?
Yes.
Be decisive. I think the biggest problem that people have that holds them back is they don't know what they want. And if you don't know what you really want in life, you have to sit down, because money's not a measure of success. It's nice to have. I've been without, and I prefer to be with, but with the times when you're without, you build the most character. But money can't be your only goal for success. There's got to be more to it, or else you're never going to feel fulfilled. You're not going to feel like you have any purpose. So you have to figure out what gets you out of bed in the morning and puts that passion inside of you that says, hey man, I'm not only going to do my want to do's, I'm going to do my need to do's, because this is what I want to do in life. Does that make sense? Because we're all good at doing the want to do's, but the difference is doing those need to do's. And when we have that passion, we have that drive. And that's what aviation gave to me at a young point in my life. It gave me that drive where I said, okay, I'll go through philosophy class. I'll argue with the professor. I'll go through this class. I can do it because I had that dream of aviation. That was that passion in my heart. And we need to have that drive. And now I have different drives and different goals. And when you reach that goal, set your next goal so lofty that you have to grow into the person that you need to be to reach that goal. And when you keep doing that, there's just no boundaries.
And that's a really good point indeed. And for those that are listening out there, listen to what Dave said. Once again, David, more of the book, Wake Up and Win, Gear Up and Shut Up, also motivational speaker, and more on the Mike Wagner Show. David, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Make sure you keep this up to date, keep in touch. Love to have you back, and tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact, or can people purchase your books, or check out your services, or be a speaker?
Absolutely. Come see us at More Motivated, Moore Motivated. Send me an email. Bring us into your next event. I promise you it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. And find the champion in you, right, Mike?
That's right. Yeah, and definitely big thank you for your time. You're totally amazing. We wish you all the best. And Dave, you've got a great future ahead of you.
The same. Thank you, Mike.